Here are the journal pages for lesson 7-8 on page 248. It should say solving division measurement problems up at the top. So here's what I suggest for you guys. As you can see, they don't give you any room to write your answers. So my suggestion would be to get a piece of scrap paper. So I have a piece of scrap paper over here that I'm going to be doing my work on because there is not enough room to do your work here. There's just no way. So let's read the directions. It says the fourth graders at Basildon Elementary School voted to hold their spring celebration at a local skating rink. The fourth grade student council is in charge of renting the skating rink and planning the celebration. Help the student council make plans by answering the questions below. So let's look at question number 1. The skating rink can be rented for a full session or half session, which is half as long as the full session. A full session is 7 hours and 30 minutes. The student council wants to rent the skating rink for a half session. How many minutes long is a half session? So here we have to do multiple steps. We have to convert the full session, which is 7 hours and 30 minutes, into minutes. It all has to be the same. When you're converting, you want it to be the same unit of measurement. So either all in hours, all in minutes, all in seconds. Here, we can't turn 30 minutes to an hour. It's not big enough. So we need to convert hours to minutes. And they actually want the answer in minutes. So that is a better converting. They'll tell you in the answer what they want you to convert it to. So it says you have to write the number model with the unknown and then answer it. So I'm going to write out the steps over on my scrap paper because that helps me organize my thoughts. So this is problem number 1. So step 1, I have to convert 7 hours into minutes. So I know that 7 times 60, right? 60 minutes in an hour. And I know that 7 times 6 is 42. So 7 times 60 would be 420 minutes. That's step number 1. Step number 2, oops, I didn't do a 1 here, would be taking that 420 minutes and adding that 30 minutes. Remember, because a full session is 1 hour and 30 minutes. So we have to add that 30 minutes, and you would get 450 minutes. Now, step number 3 is dividing that by 2. Because remember, this is what a full session is. A full session is 450 minutes. But remember, they want a half session. So they don't want a full session, they want a half session. So we have to take that 450 and divide it by 2. How would we write this as one whole number model? Remember, you set up your steps by your parentheses. So the first thing we did was 7 times 60. And I'm going to separate that with a parentheses to show whoever's doing this problem that that's the first step that they do. Then you're going to add 30 because that's what we did in step number 2. And again, I'm going to separate that whole thing into one big parentheses. So the pink represents step number 1, the blue represents step number 2. And the last thing we did was step number 3, we divided that whole thing by 2. And the way that you know you're correct is if you do the problem in the right steps and you get the answer. So I'm going to do the smallest parentheses first, which is 7 times 60, which we got 420. Now I'm going to do the blue parentheses plus 30 divided by 2. So now we have to do the blue parentheses, which we already know is 450 because we did this work already, divided by 2. So 2 divided by 450 I know that 4 times 200 is 400, and I'm left with 50. And I know that 2 times 25 is 50, so I have no remainder, and my answer is 225 minutes is a half session at the skating rink. Now, here is our number model. We just have to add the unknown. And then here was our answer. So you need a whole sheet of paper just for this one problem. So let's go back. I'm going to put in our answer, which was 7 times 60 plus 30 divided by 2 equals H for half session, and we know the answer was 225 minutes. Okay, let's go to problem number 2. It costs $1,250 to rent the skating rink for a half session. The student council has $500 for renting the skating rink. They must raise the rest of the money by selling tickets to students who attend the celebration. If they charge $6 for each ticket, how many students must attend to make sure they have enough money to rent the skating rink? Okay, so they gave us a lot of information here. So these word problems are going to be tough if you don't take the time to understand what they are asking you. So let's look at it again. It costs $1,250 to rent the skating rink for the half session, which is what they want. Student council already has $500, but they have to raise the rest of the money, right? Because $500 is not enough to pay for that half session. So they're going to do that by selling tickets to the students who attend. If they charge $6 for each ticket, how many students must attend to make sure they have enough money? Okay, so we're going to go back here. I'm going to erase this page. And we're going to do the same thing. Before we write the number model with the unknown, we're going to write down the steps that we did first. So this was for problem number 2. So, step number 1. We know that they have to have $1,250 for that half session. The student council already has $500. We need to figure out the amount of money they need to raise. So this is step number 1, doing $1,250 minus 500. So if we did that over here, let me zoom in a little. There we go. 0, 5, 750. Okay, so that was step number 1, figuring out how much money they needed to raise. Now, step number 2 is figuring out how many tickets they need to raise this much money. So if I have $750 and each ticket costs $6, that would give us how many tickets they need to sell. So how would we write this as one long number model? Remember, you're going to use parentheses to sort out what you would do first. So we know that the first thing we did was 1,250 minus 500 and then we divided that answer, which was 750, divided by 6 equals S for how many tickets they need to sell. You could do T for ticket, it doesn't matter. Or how many students would need to buy the tickets. So now we have to figure out 6. We knew that this answer was 750 divided by 6. So now we have to do 6 divided by 750. And we're going to use partial quotient. So I'm going to do 6 times 100, which would give me 600. And I'm left with 150. I know that 6 times 20 is close. It'll give me 120. And I'm left with 30, which I know is a multiple of 6 because 6 times 5 is 30. I'm left with 0. And if I add this all up, I get 125. So they need to sell tickets to 125 students to raise enough money to go to the skating rink for a half session. So I'm going to copy this as my number model with the unknown, and here is my answer for the next page. So it was 1,250 minus 500 divided by 6 equals students. For how many students? And we know that 125 students need to buy tickets. Okay, that was problem number 2. Let's do problem number 3. Tara, the president of the student council, wants to decorate the handrail around the skating rink with balloons. The handrail is the railing that goes around the whole skating rink that allows you to hold on. She wants each string tying a balloon to the handrail to be about 5 feet long. If she has 60 yards of string, how many balloons can she tie to the handrail? Okay, so we're going to go over here to our scrap paper. Okay, here is problem number 3. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so what do we know? We know that she has 60 yards of string. But they need to know how many groups of 5 feet is in 60 yards. So we have to convert 60 yards to feet. So that's step number 1, is to convert 60 yards to feet. And we're going to do this by doing 60 times 3, because there's 3 feet in every yard. So this would give us 180. So she has 180 feet of string. That was our first step. Our next step is to divide 180 divided by 5. You might think, why are we doing that? Well, she has 180 feet and she needs groups of 5 feet. So she needs to measure 5 feet string, cut them for each balloon. So we need to figure out how many pieces of string that equal 5 feet can she get out of the 180 feet of string. So we have to put this in one long number model. So the first step we did was 60 times 3. So that's first, so I need to put in my parentheses, divided by 5. If you do 60 times 3 divided by 5 without doing the parentheses, you don't know, am I supposed to do 3 divided by 5 first, or am I supposed to do 60 times 3 first? The parentheses let the person doing the problem know what to do first. They're very important, so don't forget them. So this equals B for how many balloons? And we know that 60 times 3 was 180 divided by 5. So let's do 5 divided by 180. I know that 5 times 20 would give me 100, and I'm left with 80. And I know that I'm going to get close to 80 by doing 5 times 10, which is 50. Sorry, that's a 0. And I'm left with 30, and I know 5 times 6 is 30. So they need 36 balloons. They can get 36 balloons out of 60 yards of string. So here is our number model with the unknown. Here is our answer. Okay, so our number model was 60 times 3 divided by 5 equals B. Don't forget that unknown. And the answer we got was 36 balloons. Okay, number 4, last one on this page. Tara also wants to set up 5 water coolers outside of the skating rink to allow skaters to take a break and hydrate themselves. She buys 80 gallons of water to distribute evenly to each cooler, and 8-ounce cups for drinking the water. How many cups will each cooler of water fill? So let's think of, what do we know? We know that Tara has 5 water coolers set up outside. So she has 5 groups. In each cooler, she can have 80 gallons of water to distribute evenly. She has 8-ounce drinking cups. So how many cups will she need to fill the cooler of water? Okay, so we need to do a few things first. We need to see how many gallons of water is going to, and actually I think I have enough room to do my work down here. So we need to figure out, step number 1 is how many gallons of water are going to go into each water cooler. Because in these 80 gallons, they have to be split into 5 coolers. So the first thing you're going to do is 80 divided by 5 to see how much water is in each cooler. So if I did 5 divided by 80 with partial product, I know 5 times 10 is 50, and I'm left with 30, which is 5 times 6, so 16. So there's 16 gallons in each of the 5 water coolers. So our first thing that we did for our number model is 80 divided by 15. Oh, I'm sorry, 80 divided by 5. Now, let's see what else they need us to do. Evenly to each cooler. And 8-ounce drinking cups drinking the water. How many cups will each cooler of water need? So you have to take that, so step 2 is to figure out how many 8-ounce cups you'll need for the water. Well, I know that there's 16 ounces in a cup of water. So I have to multiply by 16. So let's do that. Sorry. My neighbor I thought a package was being delivered. So hold on 1 second. I thought the doorbell was going to ring and ruin my video. All right. So now we have to take that 16, which was 80 divided by 5, and multiply it by 16. And if I do that over here, 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. 1 times my 0 placeholder. 1 times 6 is 6. And 1 times 1 is 1. 6. 9 plus 6 is 15. Carry the 1. 2. So you get 256 cups. So we have to add that multiplying by 16 to our number model. So 80 divided by 5 was 16. 16 times 16 gave us the amount of cups that she needed, which was 256 cups. Okay. I'm going to split up this video so it's not super, super long. If you need to take a break, because I know this was a lot of math, go take a break, and then in about 10 minutes, come back and do the rest of your journal pages.